Welcome back to the panel discussion for day two, session one. We've got some very important experts with us today. I'd like to start with a question about real estate. I know Engineer Siham, with her background, and with all the talk about the smart city, and I know that Dr. Ahmed mentioned the new city in Cairo. We have Saudi Arabia building a new city from scratch. It's all great, but when you have an existing city and you don't have the luxury of going out and building it in the sand, you have to accommodate. You have to be reasonable and do it in phases. What are the projects that are happening now in Muscat as far as smart city or smart dedicated areas? Can you shed some light on that?
Thank you, Mr. Abbas. In Oman now, I think there is a good potential to start smart cities. Vision Oman 2040 also has a lot of requirement in this sector. We have plots which is available, but we are waiting for the will. When we are going to start? This is, of course, it's not in our hand, it's in the government plans, and maybe because of the COVID circumstances and the economy all over the world, the plans had been reviewed, and we are waiting for a lot of opportunities to be shared with the investors to start this. Dr. Ahmed mentioned the new city in Cairo. Actually, I have visited this place. Amazing. They have used smart technology. They have utilized the plot, the population of Cairo. They are now shifting actually the capital into the new city, and this is a very good example for the countries who are willing to do the same and to start distributing the people all over the country instead of putting all the businesses, the government organization and everything in the capital. We have to actually start distributing this thing using the smart facilities and embracing the smart city concept.
Excellent, thank you. I want to ask Dr. Ahmed a question, and this comes up quite a bit. I mean, as everybody has heard yesterday as well, we talked about there may be 200 or more definitions of a smart city. But when we talk about a smart city or a smart building, what is the difference? And I'd like Dr. Ahmed, if you could point it, because this is your area. What's the difference between a smart city, a digital city, and an automated city or building?
I don't know. So I think it depends. To be honest and to be professional precision, I don't know, because simply even I think we have used to answer this question within our understanding of the existing technologies, and our understanding varies from region to region, from person to person, as you know. So if are sitting like me in Boston or New York City, and you would ask what is a smart city, simply everyone will say, I need my city to offer me smart services, like even Muscat in Dubai, in Berlin. So, but if we answer the same question in the context of the new administrative capital in Egypt or Neom in Saudi Arabia, you will talk about the future more and more. You will not be limited by the existing technologies. But if we go back to the technology, which is my area, what is a smart system? What is an intelligent system? What is a cognitive system? And simply, if I take the same definition and generalize it to the smart city definition, I say a smart city should be able to intelligently sense, as I mentioned earlier in my segment, collect the right data from the right sources in the right time, and should be able to have a cognitive core to comprehend, to understand, to make sense out of this data, put it in the right context, because the same data in a different context will bring different meanings, right? So this is what we call as a human comprehension, to comprehend what you are seeing or what you are hearing. Third one, a smart city should be able to reliably offer smart, or enable at least smart services. What services, I don't know. What's smart? It depends on you as a consumer, as a resident of the operator, manager of the city. Fourth one, a smart city. And I think in your segment yesterday, you mentioned this. A smart city has to be able to think and continuously learn our collective needs, but also our individual needs. You and me, who are residents of the city, we should be understood by this, what I call, and this is part of the architecture principles of smart city operating system, how this system infrastructure will be able to continuously learn and grow as our requirements grow over time.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you with another question, but what you said, and I think what we all agree is that it is hard to define. I think that there's misconceptions when it comes to a digital city, an automated city. You can have an automated city, but you need to have some functionality. You need to have a purpose. With digital city, yes, you've gone from analog to digital, but again, it hasn't become a smart city. Smart city has to encompass everything. It has to have the automation. It has to have the digital. It has to have the communication. It has to have the citizens and the purpose and the vision of the purpose of why you're building that. So to that, I'm going to ask Mark a question. When it comes to smart city, one of the most important, other than the citizens and the stakeholders, one of the most important resources in a smart city is big data. Analyzing it, communicating it, securing it. But at the same time, when you're talking about all these companies, the industries that are coming back, that want to be involved, whether the equipment, and I know Loubna mentioned this about the communication between systems. When it comes to this, how important is it, or what is the key, the important principle that we should follow when it comes to open data? Is it open to the public and to the industry? Is there a limit? What is the best, if you benchmark it, what's the best practice?
Sure. Look, it's a critical question, because we just can't be effective if we don't have the information, right? So even before we start speaking about data and what type of data, look, it's a basic conundrum we all face when we're trying to make decisions about issues. You've got to have good information to make that. And because smart practices typically involve lots of information, we need to be able to have mechanisms to collect data. And, we could think of public libraries. I was going to say public libraries of old. They still exist. But we've found, haven't we, new ways of getting information, right? We no longer have to just go to the public library to get a book, because we have the internet to help us. And so in that same way, we need to think in our organizations, in our cities, or even at home, about a strategy for kind of gathering information to make a decision. So people kind of sometimes get a little bit, freaked out by the data idea. But just think about it in terms that we all understand. Think about that information need. And so what's your strategy to get better information? How are you going to get it? What information do you have? And so you start from a diagnostic stock take of what are the problems. You always start with what the citizens are telling you, or what the customers are telling you what the problems are, and then think, what information do I have to solve that, or what do I need to get? I mentioned in my presentation about the hugely important role sensors can play gathering information. But if you don't have sensors because the infrastructure is difficult, the platform's problematic, then you should be looking to gather it open source. And most cities now have the ability to most of them put a lot of information actually on their clouds, on open marketplaces. And what I'm a big fan of is people actually encouraging activists to kind of play with the data to perhaps, give us some insights and information that the well-meaning sort of city planner might not have been able to find. So I think it's a long answer to your question, Abbas. The short answer is you've got to have a strategy to gather the information, and then have a hard system, which is around the sensors and the infrastructure. And let's call it a soft strategy system that's around having an open data, open access information plan to gather it from people who might be able to help.
Okay, thank you. One of the things is about the communication. A lot is secure. It is a lot is public. Where do you draw the line? I mean, once you open up communication, I think that's a lot that has to do with the concerns.
I use the public library as an example. I mean, I don't know how it is in Oman. Do the people go and steal library books, right? Generally not, right? Because a practice is developed around how libraries work, right? And the problem is, even though we've had the internet for 35 years commercially, we still haven't kind of adapted to ways of thinking about that, right? So people are still very protective of things in a way that if you think about it, libraries, the doors open at 9 o'clock, everyone comes in. I mean, people could take stuff if they wanted to, but they don't. So we do certainly need to have some new practices in place, and we probably do need to have new rules for some of the big giants, right, that have controlled a lot of the data, to kind of help actually lower the fear and make people kind of more accepting of the need to share. And hopefully COVID has helped with that.
Well, the thing is, the world has changed. 2 or 3 years ago, we weren't using video conferencing as much. I think Loubna mentioned earlier in her presentation that 3.5 times the amount of video conferencing. I mean, we are now online buying things more, whether it be because of the pandemic or the awareness and the education of this. I'm going to pose the next question to Loubna about video collaboration. Do we really need it? When everybody has a cell phone, do we need to have? What is out there? What is it that, what kind of technology can we benefit from?
Yeah, I think as I presented in the presentation, we moved from a desire to have a video collaboration before the pandemic to a must-have as a product to be able to work. Replacing, I would say, the product of the video collaboration by mobile phone, it's not that simple as that. So we need to work from home. We need to be in contact with our doctors. We need to be in contact with our teachers, and we need to be in contact with our colleague. So working from home or working from anywhere, it's actually a must-have product to have I would say an enterprise and a consumer video collaboration, right? So we see in ourselves moving to the era that we need more freedom. It's actually the pandemic just helped us to understand that we can do it. A lot of things stopped during this period, but at the same time, a lot of things started, right? And we've seen like the acceleration in our needs and moving from the desire perspective to the must-have perspective. And at the same time, we're saying, okay, let's be honest with ourselves. We can do it. We just need the right solution. We don't need, to have all the face-to-face. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all need to have this face-to-face contact. But look at us today. We are having the most biggest, I would say, webinar talking about technologies, and all of us were behind the camera, except me, myself, where I'm not using my own product. That's why I can see the quality of Ahmed or quality of Mark as much better than mine, and the quality of Siham also. So you can see all together that we need more, I would say, professional tools that can allow us to have a professional discussion or gathering or so on. So this is exactly where we can talk about the question that everyone must ask. Are we gonna have this only because of the pandemic? Is it gonna stop after the pandemic? No, guess what? The answer is no, because all the companies discovered actually that they can work, and just only thing is that having the face-to-face, it has to be when it is really important and necessary.
Very efficient, much more efficient. Like yes, just for tomorrow, I've blocked these 2 days for the conferences, and the meetings are lined up. So what I did is I switched everything to digital, to virtual. I said, anybody wants to meet me, so I have one after another. It's very, very efficient. I want to ask Engineer Siham a question. When it comes to the smart workplace and smart homes, how is the demand now? Being in the real estate sector, do you see a lot of consumers now asking for smart buildings, smart accommodations, whether it be apartments or complexes, compounds, housing areas where they are connected? They know that they get 5G, they can get this, they can get this. Do you see more of that demand?
Yes, Abbas, actually working in the sector, meeting with a lot of people, different ages, different needs, presenting one of our projects, which is one of its kind in Muscat, if you can say, the people who are willing to buy and they don't actually regret the prices. It's a little bit higher than the ordinary offices, but people come and buy, and we have sold almost 45% of the project in the first month.
Wow.
These indicate that yes, people actually believe in smart offices. I haven't started, working with smart homes yet, but I am of course willing to do that, and I think we all need. I have me myself, and I have a lot of other colleagues who transfer or look for technology to reduce the bills for the electricity and water using new technology. This is actually now available all over the world, and Muscat as well. So people looking into this means that yes, we are transform ourselves, and we are going to the future. We start to believe that yes, we need to actually start thinking smart of going into using smart technology and innovations.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that this, as you said, the transformation, it just proves that we are evolving into a smarter society. We are demanding the services. We are, like Loubna mentioned in her presentation, that, when it comes to school, I'm here at the Finland Oman school, and we implement smart technology. The idea that, with students, whether it be educators and IT professionals, as in her presentation, she was talking about, and that's what we need. We need those kids to grow up in that society, so they're not just 10% influence, they're 100% influence. We have the Gutech. Now we introduced this year with the computer sciences department started artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. So it's there, it's coming. One of the things that, as you just mentioned, is people want things to be automated. People want things to think for themselves, and that's a question I want to ask Dr. Ahmed about. Is the artificial intelligence. Now, you have a lot of background on artificial intelligence, and one thing that I asked about yesterday is, and it came up, I think, it didn't get any traction. I think this one thing is ethics. When it comes to artificial intelligence, I know you gave examples of SpaceX, and technology is there. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, especially self-learning intelligence, then there is a caution. So where do you define, when do you start talking about ethics in artificial intelligence? When it comes to let's keep it as broad, let's keep it in the parameters of smart city or smart buildings. Your mic.
Yes, in the context of smart city and the smart building, I think ethics start with, for me, privacy. Because if would be able to implement my vision to have the cognitive digital twin infrastructure for a smart city, digital threads, collecting data, and all of this stuff. The first question for me within the ethics discussion is privacy. How can we as technologists guarantee that the privacy of everyone, each individual in the city, his or her privacy is absolutely protected? This is the first where to start the ethics discussion. There are the other part of ethic discussions or ethic components will vary from country to country, because ethics, you have traditions, you have religions, you have political systems. All of those components dynamically define the ethics of the system we live in. But first one is privacy. For me is absolute no go, no touch area. Privacy is privacy of every human in this city. So if we move further to the other parts, my technical question or extreme answer is here: take the human out of the loop, because we ethically usually corrupt. This is my opinion. And if you see the data, as you know, any machine learning system is being defined, architected, trained, tested, operated by the data. The data decide everything. The data we created over the centuries are corrupt, have all the ethical corruption we have as a human being, and we have some tools, technical tools, to figure out what is ethical, what is not ethical within the context of the problem in hand. We have technical tools, but if you evaluate all of those technical tools, there is one goal: take the humans out of this loop, because they are corrupt creature and there are a lot of dirty data in the system.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to follow up with a question. This just came to me.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, and we talk about machine learning, can a machine learn to be corrupt?
Absolutely, and can be extreme corrupt and extreme dangerous more than a human, because even if you take a killer, there is some ethics inside him. You know, take a killer, a really brutal killer, some ethics. But if you train the machine to be unethical, it will be like an automatic machine gun with computer vision.
Well, we will go into another sector, another topic. That's on another day. But yes, the simple thing is you want to go home. You want the artificial intelligence to know that you're home. They turn on the air conditioning. You don't want to. You don't feel well. You know, you've got a cold. You don't want the air conditioning to go on. So you have to tell it. So there are some things, and I think the communication, you know, the data analytics, the logarithm, all this, it all comes into play. I think one thing that we have to agree, there's 2 points. One thing is that when it comes to smart city, while implementing this, it is cultural. And what you just touched upon, I think Mark said it as well, and Engineer Siham and Loubna, all of you touched on this, is that whatever solution is implemented, it is not global. It cannot be a global solution that's applied in a local to a local problem. It has to be regional, it has to be cultural sensitive. So what happens, what works in Barcelona may not work here. What may work in Los Angeles may not work here. But there are ways, and that's where the goals and everything is. And again, one thing I said yesterday as well is that building a smart city, there's no destination. It's not that, okay, we built it as of, you know, September 22nd, 2021. It's a constant evolving process. It is a journey. When we get to the September 22nd, there's going to be new technologies, there's going to be new demands from the citizens, and it's a continuous process. So with that, because of the time, we've already gone over by about 13, 14 minutes, and we're already into the next session's timing. But I really want to thank the panelists. It has been an honor. It has been a pleasure to be able to share the platform with you and to listen to your ideas and to present your knowledge and share your gain from your knowledge and your experience. Thank you very much to Mark, to Engineer Siham, Loubna, and Dr. Ahmed. Really, thank you very much. We will break for about 5 minutes and then come back for the next session. I think we'll go back on time. The next session, I will be presenting a bit, so I'll make that very short, so we can get back on track. But thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great conversation. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Mark. Bye-bye.
Bye.